Footsteps. He was coming for her. Terror spiking, she looked at the drop-off. It wasn't as sheer here as it was in some areas, but one misstep could send her to the bottom. There were some trees not too far down. Could she find a hiding place behind one of them? Her mistake was clear. She should have rounded the back of the car and beelined across the street for the wooded area that led to her backyard. Now she was a sitting duck. Footsteps crunched closer. "I know you're there," a voice whispered. Callie's breath caught in her throat. She whispered a prayer for protection. The figure moved along the edge of the street. Kallie could see him looking over the edge. If he looked to his right, he would see her. Could she move without attracting his attention? A shudder ripped through her, and she tried to think. She couldn't stay here. She had to try. Keeping her eyes on the figure at the front of the car, she took a step back, then another. His focus stayed on the drop-off. Once on the other side of the vehicle, she paused and looked at the open space between her and the cover of the trees. It was only about 10 yards, but it might as well have been 10 miles. With one more glance over her shoulder to confirm he wasn't looking her way, she darted for the trees. "Hey!" His shout spurred her on, his running footsteps sending another splash of terror shooting through her. Callie's only goal was to escape him and make it to the back door of her childhood home. She knew this area. She'd played in these woods since the day her mother had finally decided she could explore on her own, within shouting distance. Now all she had to do was find the path before he found her. Detective Nolan Tanner stood in the living area of the Goodlet home and scanned the solemn faces before him. Kallie Ainsworth's family. Sharon Goodlet, Callie's mother, was still beautiful in her early 50s. If he remembered correctly, her youngest daughter, Megan, was 23 and the exact opposite of Kallie in physical appearance. While Kallie had straight blonde hair and blue eyes, Megan had dark curls that reached to her mid-back. Her eyes shone like black onyx, and her full lips showed a permanent pout. And then there were the stepchildren, Rick's 2 grown sons and 1 daughter, James, Richard, and Shelley. Right now, they all stared at him like he'd grown an extra head. Rick Goodlet, Callie's stepfather, had been dead for 3 days, and his funeral was the day after tomorrow. The reading of the will would take place immediately afterward, and the family had swooped in like the vultures he'd heard them to be. "I hate to deliver this news at this point, but it might mean you have to delay the funeral." "What? No! Are you crazy?" The chorus of objections met his announcement, as he'd predicted. He sighed. "Look, I'm sorry, but the evidence says that Rick's death was not an accident." "But it was a car wreck." Sharon stood and paced to the mantel. She turned. "A car wreck on a curving mountain road." "There was a bullet hole in the windshield." Her jaw dropped and several gasps echoed around the room. "What?" Sharon Goodlet was either an Academy Award-winning actress, or she truly had no idea her husband's death could have been anything but an accident. She stumbled back to her seat and slumped into the wingback chair. "But, no. What?" "Someone reported hearing a gunshot about the time of the wreck. I didn't connect the two until just this morning and, on a hunch, had the vehicle examined a little closer. Initially, the broken and cracked windshield looked like the result of the wreck, but when we went looking for it, the bullet hole was there." "I can't believe this." She raked a hand through her hair. "I know this is hard," he said, "and I promise to do my best to wrap this up as quickly as I can." "Kallie will be here soon." Nolan's heart thudded. "Kallie?" "Yes, why?" Megan asked. She sidled up next to him. A hint of spicy perfume reached him, and he thought it was the same scent she'd worn in high school. He hadn't been fond of it then.